Alright, hello guys and welcome, or those of you who've seen my channel before, welcome back, and I am the Philadelphia Whovian. And for this video guys, it's just a simple discussion for me, because this video, well, it's about talking about the emotional independence of the Doctor, something almost, I don't think anyone ever talks about, and probably people think I'm weird for talking about it, and how I think, the emotional independence of the Doctor, the character of the Doctor himself, is quite important. Now, what do I mean by emotional independence? What the heck do I possibly mean by that? What I mean by that is, we always do this a lot, and it's something I noticed being a female. When I'm like reading, books written by women or commented on by women about the female characters, is if a female character is too dependent on the male character or her romantic interest, she does not have much of an identity outside of him, then she is a weak character. I understand that impulse. I actually do. I understand those people who love books like that because they give you that internal, desire, craving, obsession, romantic, just bridled passion. I understand that a great deal. However, when it happens to a male character, no one often seems to notice when it happens. So I was going to just address some times where I noticed when it came to New Who, how sometimes the Doctor was not given the emotional stability or the emotional independence he needed to make him sometimes the strongest character in the world, or as strong as he ought to have been sometimes. And I'm okay with the Doctor having weak moments. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him depending on his companions. But at the same time, it should never be done in a way where it compromises his strength as a character and his strength in himself. And this is something I noticed very much when I began to watch Doctor Who from the very beginning of the revival, the Chris Eccleston Ninth Doctor era. And it also was helped by fans, I admit. Fans in our love for, maybe many fans with their love for, Rose Tyler and the Doctor when they first came out. Now, if you love Rose and you love the Doctor, you love them together, that is fine. Guys, honestly, that is perfectly fine. But here's my problem with that dynamic, that sort of bond, is that from the very beginning, we have a Doctor who is shell-shocked because of the Time War. Understandable. I get why this is happening. He's shell-shocked. However, as the series progresses and it goes into the next series, it gets heavily implied that Rose Tyler is the person who brought him back to life, practically. She's like the one that breathed life into him, that made him, soften again. He was this hard person and she softened him. While I understand the romantic appeal behind this, here's the problem. It's not nearly as powerful to me as, well, yes, maybe Rose helped him get there, but also he helped himself. He helped himself get there. He was proactive in his desire to improve himself because he chose to improve himself. And he didn't need an outside influence to help him do so. Then the beginning of it really began and also continued with his desire to improve himself, and he himself was enough to improve himself. But over time it became heavily reliant on the Doctor needed someone to improve him because he didn't have the strength to always do it himself. And you're thinking I'm being paranoid. I'm given evidence of this literally as the series, of New Who began to progress. For example, an episode that I absolutely love, like Shakespeare Code. I'm a weird person. It's actually one of my favorite episodes from the 10th Doctor era. It might be one of my favorite episodes in New Who. I'm weird like that, just am. But one line that it got put in there and it's like, oh dear God, this is happening. Actually, two lines where the Doctor is in the bed with Martha after he told her to get into the bed, and he says randomly, Rose would know. My friend Rose, if she were here, she would say exactly the right thing. Oh well, can't be helped. I'll take you back home tomorrow. First of all, how do we know Rose would say the right thing? There were plenty of times where Rose Tyler did not say the right thing. Why are you talking about this? And then there's the next one where, he's with the Carrie Knight, and then she mentions the name Rose, and he says, oh, no, big mistake, because that is the name that keeps me fighting. You know what, Doctor? How about you be the reason why you keep on fighting? How about you fight just for the sake of fighting because it's the right thing to do? Do you need someone? Do you need someone to be an outside incentive for you to fight? Why can't you be your enough unto yourself? And this has just becomes very prevalent for me throughout a great deal of New Who, where it's like the Doctor's goodness can sometimes be externalized, where his goodness is wrapped up in one companion, and through that companion it makes him a better person. I'm okay with you getting inspiration to be a better person by influence from someone else, but not too much. You have to be more inspired to improve yourself because of yourself, and then the person who helps inspire you to become better, that's a plus. If you get what I'm saying. Like, that adds to you wanting to become a better person. But I prefer you're a stronger person if you help improve who you are, because you yourself intend to improve yourself, because you are enough unto yourself. And I know it seems like I'm strange, like maybe I'm not even making any sense, but I'm going to try and be clearer as I progress with this video. I'll do my best. I don't think I ever will be that clear. And then we get to, episodes like Journey's End in Series 4, where, the Doctor's with his other self. Oh, that scene. Sorry. Again, I know people love that scene, but that scene. That's where the melodrama really hit hard. And again, I'm okay with drama and melodrama, but that's when the melodrama was like, whoa, this is really getting it melodramatic, from where you've got the Doctor with his other version of himself that was created because Donna touched his hand and somehow she made another Time Lord, another version of the Doctor. I don't know. I don't know how that I don't know. Sorry. Again, I'm okay with, rules of Gallifrey being changed ever so often, but that just felt like you're created just so that Rose Tyler can have someone to bang. Sorry, I can't help but think it. I mean, again, I'm fine with if you love that stuff, I understand why you love that stuff. I'm just saying, it was like, okay. Because if we find out he's got one heart, so he's human, he can have a life with Rose. So it's like, literally, you made a version of the 10th Doctor so the teenage companion can have someone to bang. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but think it. I couldn't help but think it. But either way, the 10th Doctor says to Rose, he needs you. Look at him right now. He's the side of you. He's the side of, of me that was before I met you. The side that was not there until you made me better. Like, again, it's externalizing the Doctor's goodness and it's placing it inside of someone else who's a great deal younger than him. It's like he needs this teenage girl or a young woman to be his moral compass, or a young man to be his moral compass. I'm okay with the Doctor sometimes being reckless, sometimes being heartless because of how old he is. He just can't connect the way he used to. But when it's made very clear that the companion is going to consistently be his moral compass, that makes him emotionally dependent. And, dare I say the word, an emotional cripple. And I just wish that wasn't the case to the extent it was. Again, I'm okay with it happening a couple times, but it was done a little bit too brown, especially with that one moment where it's like, okay, this is the version of me before I met you. You're the version of me that wasn't there. He said something like, before you made me a better person. And also, that's being also very, very showing how much. No offense, but the RTD era was so busy building up the Rose Tyler 10th Doctor, romance, they didn't see when they were kind of inaccurate. Because Rose Tyler did not make him a better man. She didn't. To me, like, the Doctor did not become the best he ever got until Martha Jones said to him, "This is me getting out," and Donna entered his life. Literally, when Martha said, "This is me getting out," at that point, the Doctor had made so many mistakes, done so many things wrong, and when Martha said, "This is me getting out," it's like that was when the Doctor, the wind was knocked out of him, and the Doctor did something I had not really seen him do much of before in New Who. Realized he could be completely wrong about things, and he was humbled. The Doctor was completely humbled, actually. And then we see him with Donna, and we see him, I feel like this is one of his greatest moments, actually, in Partners in Crime, where the Doctor says he said with Martha, it got really complicated, and it was all my fault. He took responsibility for his own actions. Now, I know that doesn't mean much to other people, but here's the thing about life. We are at our best and we are really at our strongest when we have the strength to admit we were wrong about something, or maybe something was our fault. That's when we really somehow shine and become our strongest moments, because we admit the most painful thing in the world. We admit we could have been wrong about something. That takes guts. So that's when I thought the Doctor really reached his best. You know, with Rose, under him, we got a guy who, didn't really have many, wasn't really good at having relationships with other companions besides Rose, so he was very favoritizing. He was often in the midst of teenage drama, teenage love triangles, and then after he lost Rose, he became such an emotional cripple that he, committed genocide on a species that he said he would never commit when he was supposedly against genocide. Again, I understand why he killed the Rachnos children, but it's like, wait a minute. Those are still kids, dude, and that is still genocide on kids who didn't do anything yet and who you said you could have taken to another planet. I hate spiders too, but it's like, whoa, if after you met someone, you become such an emotional cripple that you can't function that well or have much morality when they're gone, perhaps you're not a better person yet. Because you don't understand that your goodness has to be inside yourself. You can't wait for someone else to come along and trigger it. And I'll leave you with this quote. Because this is a very, very beautiful quote I actually saw from the movie Cool Runnings a long time ago with the Jamaican bobsledders. And the quote was a good one. It was the coach, and he said, if you're not enough of a person without something, you're not going to be enough of a person when you got it. I'm probably paraphrasing a bit, it wasn't exact wording, but that pretty much was the phrase. If you're not enough of a person before you had something in your life, guess what? You're not going to be enough of a person when that thing is in your life. And so, with the Doctor so heavily, and this again is something that crept into the Peter Capaldi era too, I'm not going to lie. When it came to Clara sometimes, it really hit the Peter Capaldi era, because you could argue in Series 8, by the time it was done, in some ways the Doctor did become kind of Clara's bitch in some ways. Forgive my term, forgive my French, but this did creep into the Matt Smith era actually once too, with the Snowmen, where the beginning of the Snowmen, the Doctor is no longer helping planets and saving worlds. He actually is like that those days are over, and then Clara enters his life, and then he does suddenly help. But that is such a, I don't know how long he did not help for, but honestly, it's like that lasted for like 20 minutes of one episode, so I'm like, I can't harp on it too much, because it's like, that didn't last very long in regards to the episodes that was being presented. It just didn't, so it doesn't really hold too much of a weight for me. But that emotional cripple stuff did still kick in throughout, and you see it present itself all throughout, New Who. Again, that's why I don't hold it against the Snowmen or too much against Peter Capaldi too much, because by the time your era is done, if it didn't slip in too much, I can overlook it, because I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it happening every now and again. But when it happens to excess, again, the word is excess, the key word here. When it happens too much, that's when it's going to get on my nerves. And there was times where the Doctor was not allowed to have the emotional independence to make the right choices by himself. It's like he needed someone to be his moral compass. Again, I'm okay with it happening sometimes, but not when it's happening to a great deal of times where I'm like, okay, you're now becoming an emotional cripple. And emotional independence in the Doctor is an important factor. People often don't talk about it. We want the companions to take over almost. Literally, again, I can't blame Series 8 too much, or Series 9, because they came as a result of the fan base constantly complaining, we need more Clara Oswald, she's a deadpan character, or just space. We need more Clara to get to know her. And I'm like, this is called, for me, it's like, this is Doctor Who. This show is not called Rose Tyler. It's not called Martha Jones, Donna Noble, Amy Pond, Roy Williams, Clara Oswald, Bill Potts. It's Doctor Who. And the emphasis on the Doctor being emotionally strong enough to, make decisions make the right choices on his own, need to still be more prevalent over the times where he needs his companion to be his moral compass, and she or he needs to take over the show for the Doctor. That's all I'm saying. I just feel like we often don't question, or we often are so hooked on the companion, being in their, their dimensions as a character, that sometimes the Doctor's character did get compromised sometimes, and we didn't notice or care. And it's important that we notice and care, that we don't so much stress other things that we compromise the importance of the Doctor having his emotional independence, or having the ability to be strong on his own, and just because he's alone doesn't mean he's lonely. The Doctor needs to have his own sense of being able to be strong by himself. And again, there have been moments in New Who, of course, many moments in Classic Who, but many moments in New Who, the Doctor was strong on his own, but there were times where the emphasis on him needing an external, beacon of light, of goodness, to guide his way was a little bit too beaten over our heads. And I know people love that stuff and ate it up, but for me it's like, no, we're not always respecting the Doctor if we think this is what the Doctor should always be like. That's just it. And it's just, this video was just a talk, guys. And again, I completely understand if you disagree with me, if you're okay with it, or you don't even see what I'm talking about, if I was confusing. I admit this is a confusing subject. And, I can't even really hit home all the points I'm making because it's hard to hit them home because it's such a subjective matter. This is a really subjective situation here. But it's just something I want to, when we're going forward with Doctor Who in the future, us to not be so wound up in the companions or the drama of the story that we don't notice that we're taking away from the character of the Doctor himself. Or herself, in this case now, that we're going to be faced with. That's all it is. I hope I was clear with that. I probably didn't explain myself too good sometimes. This is a really confusing subject, but I just really want to talk about it, guys. Sorry, so, if you watch this video, do you have any thoughts about it? Or do you, again, it's like, whoa, that was a confusing video. Again, I do understand, guys. I just feel like expressing my feelings about it, and that's such and what. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully my next video will be more concise, clear, and be something we can all maybe agree or slightly agree on. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video anyway, and enjoy yourselves. Have a good time, guys.